I'm gonna make a video about something I just seen. Someone said that they need to they had problems and they had to break up with the person they was with. It wasn't goal oriented. It was women and relationship oriented. And I want to say that I don't think this world's about us lifting heavy weights and punching each other in the mouth and shooting each other. I mean, if you want it to be, you can do that stuff, right? You can do all that. Apparently, the world is allowed for that to happen here. It's not about who's got the fanciest stove and the coolest cooktop and the fastest heating oven. You got an oven, bro. You got a stovetop that's gas, bro. Who even uses gas? Oh, it's a convection oven, man. It's the best there is. What does that mean? But people want to be around people, man. It's coming down hard on people because they're interested in a female or a man. This is stupid. Um, this was obviously created for a purpose here. I mean, look at the breeding thing. Like, you guys believe that you gotta like replicate and continue your bloodline in order for this to happen and that to happen. If supposedly everyone quit having sex tomorrow, then the world will end in within 100 years, right? So you gotta. This is the simplest of creations. We didn't start this. Supposedly we had to discover fire. We weren't born with ovens and fire there, right? We were born with two people. And if you believe in Christianity, you believe in the Garden of Eden. It was just two people who ate fruit all day. Or one person at first, and then he was like, "Hey, here's your friend." And God was like, one of the first things God done, if you believe in Christianity, is God created a female for Adam to have companionship with. God didn't create Adam and Steve, because so Adam and Steve could go around and bop animals on the head with the club, throw rocks at whatever, at animals. You know how it is. You guys know how it is. I don't think females understand what it's like, what we do, but what would happen if God created Steve as a companion for Eve? I mean, Adam, my bad. You would have went around with a club bopping stuff on the head, throwing rocks at stuff, and throwing rocks at each other. I mean, really, at the end of the day, you would have been throwing rocks at each other. Like, that's stupid. Grass isn't called grass, it's called hoobla blah. And then Steve is like, no, it's called grass. And then whack. Well, what's that called? That's called a rock. He's like, no, that's not called a rock. That's called a jababla. Watch me hit you in the head with the jababla. Right? So that's how that would work. So if you're Christian, you believe that that was created for that reason, but I believe like this other stuff was created definitely like the whole mating process. You can't mate two males together, supposedly for millions or billions of years, thousands. If you follow the Jews' calendar, 6,000 years. And I don't think you still can do that too, and it's probably very dangerous to think you should try that right now until you have security and technology. You really shouldn't rely on it at all. Um, yeah, I just want to make a quick video about that. Like, we always try to run hard on people, like, this and that. But I'll tell you, two of the greatest men I know, and it's got nothing to do with them being family. It's got to do with the fact that I was able to monitor them and talk to them and learn about their lives. And in one case, I watched him throughout his whole life, and I learned eventually that I'm like I don't, hopefully it doesn't come off wrong, but I'm like investigating, researching, interrogating the human species like my whole life. Like I just kind of sit back. It's not even like that. I sit back and I let them do it for me. And I always said I was doing kind of nothing, but it was so far from it because I scored really high in school. So I was like, I've seen everything. It just, I wasn't talking. So, and I wasn't setting goals and things I had to do. And so what I was doing is I was studying and analyzing everything. I didn't realize that. And two of the greatest people I know, they have steady relationships, right? Um, one has had a wife and children since he was really young. That's my brother, one of my brothers. And then one of my uncles has had a really long relationship too. And, both of them are like some of the best people I know. And it's got nothing to do with my family. If you know me, I'll talk shit about anyone. I don't care. There's no you giving me a bar of gold and buying me off, or you give me a hug and buying me off to talk good or bad. Like I've, especially with my brother, I fully analyzed and understood the whole situation of what's inside his flesh sack. And my one uncle reminded me of that. Another uncle kind of reminded me of me. So and it was kind of weird how some of the other uncles kind of did stuff like that too. But anyways, point is those people, they had steady relationships, and those are the people I could analyze, especially my brother. Like I probably analyze him more than anything because we were beside each other all the time. He might be the person who educated me, although he probably doesn't know that because I scored better than him. But I was like, if I recall, I was always hanging over his shoulder and learning all the older people's stuff he was doing. But I don't think you should like be hard on yourself because you was in a relationship and it's failed. Maybe like you should be hard on yourself because you didn't try harder in the relationship and try to keep together. Maybe that's the problem because I can tell you with the two people I know who kept stuff together, that was their goal. They set that goal to have a family and to have a life like that. Uh, they didn't set the goal for them to be the world's strongest jackknape and the world's best beat you in the head with a clubber. They set, I know the one set the goal early on. I could tell, like, just way early. And then eventually, I think he probably said those words, or I would never say that. That was his goal. And he made that goal, and he set that goal. He achieved that goal. And as far as I know, that goal is still there, and it's still working for him. So there's nothing wrong with setting a goal of wanting a relationship, companionship, friendship in your life. Um, and The problem is I think a lot of us get together and we're not ready for that. Like I had eventually changed my motive to I wanted someone perfect, and I never found like anyone like above 90%, which 90% I should consider pretty good, but I didn't know that at that point. And that person was changing too, and I didn't understand that that 80-90% could change easily eventually. I didn't expect people to change. I didn't want people to change for me, etc. But you you have like those things you're looking for, and you're also not. We're told everyone's the same, so we're like looking for some crazy stuff. Like we want. I don't know what you want. I do. I know what guys want generally, and you can actually find some of that, and some other stuff I wouldn't put up with personally. But I've found some of that stuff, and sometimes I found like what I'm like looking for today almost pretty much, and I just questioned who and what it was, and how I got that when I didn't feel I deserved it. And then eventually they told me that stuff too. They were like, "Look, we gave you what you wanted. Like you weren't ready to accept it." And it's like, who the hell are you? How can you even tell me this stuff? And it's like, but you know what you're talking about. That's the problem is, who the hell are you? How are you telling me this? And how do you actually know what you're talking about and know you can speak those words to me and then mean anything? And so some of those things are a little harder to answer and a little more suspension of what we call belief is required. But I believe these things are here for us, and we shouldn't discredit them just because we had something we messed up or someone else messed up. Most people you talk to, everyone else is at fault. If you talk to me, I can tell you, I'll just accept blame for whatever in a relationship for the most part. Like I'll give you like 3 excuses why I turned, but I'll tell you I turned. And you don't get that with some other people. And then that clashes when you have one person who wants the event to happen and the other person isn't really involved in it. Like when the person came into my life, it was just like super spectacular and all this. So like one of them anyways, right? Because there's probably many of them. And I had shifted my life to goal oriented outside of wanting a female and how to maintain a relationship. And I didn't have room in my life for that. And they obviously wanted it, and I didn't at that point. And I think that's probably really important when people get together, is you have to understand at that point in time, you have to be oriented towards the same thing you want. Do you just want sex for a night? Do you want sex for a month, a week? Or do you are both of you like ready, and you've learned that you want to be together forever? You know, some people want children. Obviously, a lot of people want children. Some people might by accident, but I don't. Yeah, you do it right. I don't see how that happens too accidentally too often. But then again, maybe I do. So you have to, like, when you're goal oriented, you have to find someone who's the same goal oriented as you. And yeah, that's important that they want to do the same things as you, but it's important that they want the life advancement you do. It has to be a female who wants to be together if you want it. And you can look at some of these people's past patterns and learn that stuff too about them. Just like me, it's like I can kind of not expect to have more than a 5-year relationship because apparently I'm not too good with that. But at the same time, I've seen other people who I've tried to work it through with, they will give up. Like, and I understand, like, if you meet up with someone like me, especially if I'm not ready for it, like, you probably, I feel bad for you. If you're trying to push something and I'm not ready for it, definitely. And I don't understand it, but see, maybe understanding these things will help people. So I thought I'd put this out there. There isn't no, you're not like a simp because you're not focusing on you because you want a lover in your life or and a companion in your life. You actually are. That is your goal. You're not goal oriented. You are chasing the goal you want, and they call it like chasing women and all that stuff. But it's like, seriously, bro, they weren't put there. People, if we were supposed to just sit in a room all day and do nothing, other people wouldn't have been put here. We just sit in a room and play Call of Duty. I wouldn't. I'd play Rainbow Six Siege all day, every day. PUBG. That's all I do. But when I do that, I still sometimes want a companion. Like literally, those games have online companions. So there you go. This isn't about competing things. A goal in a relationship is a goal. So if you want that, you have to understand that, and you have to understand how they work, and you have to understand the mistakes you made, and you have to understand the other person, and you've got to try to communicate with the other person. And when the other person tries to communicate with you, you have to understand that too.